Well, last week or thereabouts, I said that I didn't expect Neil Brown and the Mountaineers to use up their one remaining scholarship. I thought he would hold on to it for a while unless a really good option came along. Oh, was I right or wrong? Well, one way or the other, I am Forrest Poston. This is WVU football, going deep, and glad you're here, assuming you are. Well, this morning we got an announcement that tight end Gregory Genross has committed to the Mountaineers for 2024. He's coming out of junior college, has 2 years of eligibility remaining, stands 6'6", 230 pounds. He is the highest ranked tight end coming out of community college, junior college, whatever you want to call it, and whatever value there is in being the best at that level. Where does that place him in terms of Power 4? Serviceable or better? Now, it would appear that the coaches think he's going to be better than serviceable, because I don't think they would have used the only scholarship currently available just for somebody to hang on to in a room that's already relatively crowded. So, what's it all mean? How does it play out? Let's take some guesses. Okay. Looking at the tight end room, now Cole Taylor remains the starter. That, barring injury, Cole Taylor is the starter for 2024. He should be a better blocker than he was, and actually should be a better receiver, sharpening up those routes. And if Garrett Green does maintain the additional touch and accuracy he seems to have added, that will also help the tight end numbers, including Cole Taylor. Now, Traylon Davis has been the backup tight end, for a couple of years, and he has been serviceable. His blocking has been variable. He had some issues with receiving. Has worked on all of this. He is a dedicated player, man. You watch interviews with him and you gotta like him. You gotta want him to succeed. And in the spring game, he made a couple of catches that the media ignored, and he actually did a little running after he caught the ball. So he can do both. If he has improved, or let us say made his blocking more consistent, then he's a good option. So what role is, Genross, I think I called him Glenn Ross, forgive me for that. I suspect that may become a common mistake, and I apologize. But I'm not sorry enough to re-record the whole video. So, 2 years remaining. I don't really think they signed him for next year. I don't think they use that scholarship unless they think they can use him and need him this year. Because by next year, a lot of the guys currently on the roster should be pretty dang good. People are mostly talking about Genross as a blocker. His highlights did show receiving, including downfield. Now that's against lesser competition. I don't know if he'll be able to get downfield at the Power 5, Power 4 level, but he's got good hands. He's got highlights, reaching high, reaching low, reaching back. Yeah, he can catch the ball on the move. Stands at 6'6". So there's that height that we've really been after lately. Listed at 230 pounds. Now that is a problem. At that weight, he'll be going up a lot of linebackers who are as heavy or heavier and maybe as fast as he is. I figure they're going to put on a pretty good, pretty quick 10 pounds. And that will get him into the range. He won't be the heaviest by any means. He won't be the lightest anymore. Samarco's a freshman, and he's at 238. 6'5", 238. So I do think we have to get some muscle onto him. Hey, forgive me for interrupting myself, but I do need to ask you guys to please subscribe, click the notification bell, click the thumbs up, make comments, click share. Really helps get the channel out there to people. And I would be down on my knees for you, except then you couldn't see me in the camera. You could see the mess behind. Back to the video. But I think he is intended to be more of that guy who is in between Taylor and Davis. Better receiver than Davis, better blocker than Taylor. That doesn't move him ahead of Taylor. It might move him ahead of Davis. Or it may mean, a lot of more variable combinations, including, some 2 tight end sets where you've got 2 good blockers who can both catch passes. Of course, I'd like to get that out of Taylor, but I don't think blocking is ever going to be his strong suit. He's willing, but we'll kind of see how that goes this year. And of course, this is Taylor's last year. Davis has, I think, 1 more year. Then, well, I was going to say we get kind of young, but by next year that won't be entirely true. But we've got Will Dixon, still waiting, caught some passes in the spring game, but we just don't get to see enough to know. Now, is that the main reason that they went after Genross? Or I assume it's pronounced that way. It could be Genross, I don't know. But maybe Dixon didn't improve as much as they hoped, particularly in blocking. Dixon's now listed, 6'5", 244. Should be substantial enough to do some blocking, but that's still a bit lighter than you want out of your tight end. I think 250 is probably where you want tight ends, as the low end. When you're in the 230s, you're, and that tall, you're more like a big wide receiver. But Dixon may not be, I would guess, blocking as well as they want. I hope he is working well as a receiver. He caught a couple of good passes in the spring game. Noah Braham into his 2nd year now, so 2024 should show some progress, but probably not enough to get on the field other than special teams. That's no worry. 2nd year, moving from wide receiver to tight end. This is, normal progress. He's now at 6'3", 245, so right in there with Dixon. But a year younger or so than Dixon. So, and 6'3", 245, that's decent bulk. So, happy with that type of progress. Jack Samarco, okay, freshman, if he plays, it's going to be, special teams. Probably will try to redshirt him. I see no expectation of not redshirting him unless we have a bunch of injuries. And we have Victor Wickstrom still on the roster. He's a redshirt junior, I believe. So would have one more year if he wants it. And there is one of the puzzles. Wickstrom has not developed. 6'4", 263 sounds more like a blocking tight end. It's essentially identical to Davis, but Davis has gotten all of those snaps. I didn't see or hear of Wickstrom in the spring game. I assume he was, there and dressed, but nobody was particularly looking for him. And of course, you don't have names on the uniforms in that game, so it's a little harder. But is there an expectation that Wickstrom will leave the team? Not join the portal, possibly just give up football. As an international player, there are complications to that. Yes, he is here based on education, but I assume that it's also based on his athletic scholarship. So what status does he lose if he leaves the team? I don't know. But you also, there's chatter that things may still happen. Wickstrom would seem to be one of the possible candidates. That would get us back to one available scholarship and back to the question of, do you save it? And then if it's still available at the beginning of the season, give it to a walk-on? Or do you go after best available at a spot? There aren't any critical needs. There's room for improvement. And I would say, defensive line is probably the number one because, we had McIntyre get injured and, still thinking that's long term. Don't know, but seems to be the expectation. Defensive backfield, still a possibility. I don't think there's currently any wide receivers out there that would really improve the room. Specifically looking for 6'4", and fast. Or if they would improve the quality, the athletic quality of the room, would they hurt the locker room chemistry overall? And it's not worth it. And of course, I just did the Zoomer Gloom, video, so check that out if you haven't seen it. Anyway, and of course, next year we've got Jackson Aquardi coming in. Another one of those, open by birth kind of guys, but he will need time to develop. So, Genross may be more important next year than this year, depending on how everybody develops. But I think he needs to be a factor this year to make sense of the signing. Also worth noting, you look at the experts and some had him almost certain to go to Colorado. Some had him almost certain to go to Mississippi State. West Virginia was like 2-3% possibility, according to these guys. He came and visited. 2 days later, committed. That tells you a lot about the West Virginia program and the coaches. And that's a good thing. All right. Well, didn't expect unexpected news. Wow, how's that? So I'm not expecting any special news coming up immediately. Always possible. I will see you then, possibly sooner. And we'll take things from there. Thanks for dropping in. Please make comments, subscribe, and do all those good things. And I hope you have at least a pretty good day. Better would be nice. So long.